in an interview over All-Star Weekend, Anthony Edwards was asked about being the future face of the league, and he said, "Hell no, that's what you got Wemby for." I have a theory on this whole face of the league thing. I don't think the face of anything exists anymore because of social media. Because now everyone has the chance to see whatever they want to see whenever they want to see it. Previously, in the past, All-Star Weekend was huge because for some fans, it was the only time they get to see certain players. Whereas now, because you've got NBA League Pass and you've got Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, you can see whichever players you want to see whenever you see it, right? And I think a comparison here is the face of hip hop, for example, the face of rap music. You don't really have a face of it anymore because everyone just listens to what they want to listen to.
Oh yeah, sure
What
you
they
do.
want to listen
Mo.
to.
You can't say these
Who's
things.
the face of hip hop, BJ?
Hip hop,
Yes, right now in 2025.
hip hop.
In
That's who's
2025.
always been the face. That's
No,
all. This is the face of hip hop. Struggle. It's always been the face. Mo, the struggle.
we're
What?
talking about appealing to a wider audience demographic, right? So in the lens of the
Mo,
NBA, it was
Mo. This
Jordan,
is
it was Kobe, it was LeBron.
no, 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 no,
Which
Mo. The audience was appealed to what we were doing. Mo, hip hop was never meant to appeal to anything. That's the problem. Mo, I didn't play the game so I could appeal to a fan, so he can like me. Now, you know who I wanted to appeal to, Mo? There were people like Scott Perry who actually respected the game, put in the same work that I put in, and there were a lot of kids. And we weren't playing to be popular. We were playing for the respect of our neighborhood when we went outside of the city, of our city, and we had respect for the game. The game is the star. Hip hop wasn't made to be popular. Hip hop wasn't made to get this is the face of it. No, it came from the struggle.
Yeah, but regardless of that, you do
And
in the wider audience
and
consumption
we
of
gave
you're
you
trying
that.
to reach
And we gave
millions
you
and millions of
that.
people,
And we
there will
and
be a
we and
face
we
of
gave you that.
things.
And we gave you that. You call it rap and we sit back and we're entertained. You got your rap music. Now entertain yourself. You make it what you wanted to do. Hip hop was never made to be popular, ever, never will. Scott Perry and I weren't 15 years old sitting around going, hey, man, I want to make it to the league. If anything, we were sitting there admiring the people in the league because we were both playing against those players. And I know I wasn't, and I know Scott wasn't saying, hey, man, I'm better than this guy. I'm better than Isaiah Thomas, for instance. Because we respected the game. We weren't, some trainer wasn't telling us how to work on a double step back. People in social
That
media
double
weren't
step
telling
back.
Scott Perry, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. BJ, you were all state. Who cared? You were all American. Who cared? George Gervin would walk in the gym and everybody bowed down because you say, you know what? No one was that good. So humble yourself. Stay humble, young man. Okay, so it
Okay.
is with great humility that I can say that I was fortunate enough to play professionally because I know then and like I know now, I wasn't the best player in the city of Detroit. There were a lot of players who could have made it, should have made it, ought to made it. But for whatever reason, I did make it. And I made it because of people like Scott Perry. I had truth tellers around me who, if Scott saw me doing something crazy, let me assure you, Scott would be the first person to call me. And that's not popular. Scott is one thing that I learned through professional sports is who your real friend is and who's not. Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, right now, the gentleman right here, Scott Perry, that's a real friend because Scott Perry is going to tell me the truth. And he don't have to worry about me walking out, oh man, who's this guy? No, because Scott Perry, this is what the game is. It's about the game. It's about respect for the game and the people.
Okay.
Okay. But so I just want you to know,
Regardless of your intentions or motivations to play the game, when you did play the game at the time, there was a consensus face of the league. And that is something
who was the consensus?
Michael
There wasn't
Jordan was the
Michael
face of
Jordan
the
wasn't
NBA in the
no,
90s.
you know, no. There wasn't a consensus when Michael was going for that. This was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's league.
Oh,
And before that,
before you got that. Yeah.
It was
So
Kareem
there were still
Abdul-Jabbar's league.
faces of the league.
No, it wasn't faces. Those guys had earned the right to be in that category. Now, you come in the league year one, for instance, And he's probably my favorite player, Wemby. There's no way we should be saying he's a superstar. He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't even made the playoffs yet. It has never been easier to score 20 points in the league. It's never been easy to be a superstar. Based on what? Based on what? I saw a guy average 37 a night, and people were like, he's a sideshow. When we would go to the gyms to work out, the stars would be like, all right, guy runs around. He has long shorts, But they weren't passing out the league that he was the best player in the league. Never, ever. You had to prove yourself. Now everybody's a superstar. Well, how? You asked the question last week. All right, was it last week or this week? This guy's a superstar. Well, what's the definition of a superstar? I think we were talking about Jason Tatum. Yeah. What's the definition? What's the definition? In order to be the best player in the league, and it was a consensus, you had to have the most championships. Well, maybe that's why Jordan became it. He did it.
So,
okay. If you want to be the best in this era, you guys are just passing out everything. This is your era. I'm just sitting on the sideline.
Back to the original question that started all of this. Which player, in your esteemed opinion, is going to be the next face of the NBA then?
Like BJ said, to become the face, you've got to have enough accomplishments on your belt to become the face. Now, the all-time face that a lot of people will say right now, obviously, is Michael Jordan, and that is due to what he accomplished. I saw something the other day that Michael Jordan, and this goes back to college, he never lost a championship game or a championship series. The time he went to the World Games, the Olympics,
NCAA.
college, when the NCAA, when they went to the championship game, 6 times to the finals, never lost. I think he was like 11-0 in, kind of in final game situations. And so you understand why, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, you understood why they were the face of the league. Magic came in as an NCAA champion. Who did he beat? Larry Bird, who took a small school in Indiana State all the way. And then they proceeded to lead 2 historic franchises to championship after championship. I think Bird had 3 and Magic had 5. So in projecting this, what makes it tough for me is I'm trying to see which player is in position and poised and has the drive to be multiple championships, not 1, not even 2. Let's take it to a 3-time champion. I don't know, Nikola Jokic is a 3-time MVP. He's a great player. Now, if he comes back and wins the title this year, does he push himself more to that? See, I think more the question, with part of what you're getting at too, is, and this is where the rub comes in from the real, basketball versus the commercialization and who's going to be, who's popular and that kind of thing. Because right now, no one really is driving the ratings like that, with the exception of LeBron and Steph Curry, and they're on their way out. So they're no longer going to be the face of the league.
When an average person thinks of the NBA, who do they think of? That's
tough. Well, and I think right now, I don't know that there's one player that you can say. I really don't. I mean, obviously, BJ makes a great look. Victor is very well known because of his unique physical prowess. He's 7'5" and he's skilled and he has gobs of potential. But we haven't seen, like BJ did mention, and this is a great point, we haven't even seen him in the playoff series. Yeah.
And we've already
hard to anoint that. At least, Anthony Edwards, we saw him go through a playoff run last year. Okay, what does he come back and do this year? Can he get to the finals? So it's hard to anoint him the face, and he doesn't have a championship under his belt. I know the question was about Jason Tatum. I think that the Boston Celtics as a team right now is the de facto face because they're winning. I don't know that there's an individual player. Right now, I think that is an abdicated throne right now, and we just don't know who's going to fill it. And I am hard pressed to say who that's going to be because so much has
Yeah,
to happen
it's
to get there.
yes.
So much
Now,
has to happen.
now, Mo, I'm not going to attempt to answer this. I'm gonna answer it. In order for this to happen, Mo, the face, two things got to happen. The coaches and the players have to all come and all have to be placed in the right environment. This is key now. The environment that we're looking for in which greatness will come from is the struggle. There has to be competitive tension wherever you operate. People must get comfortable competing. Okay? What kind of environment, Mo, which we talked about? Let's talk about that era, right? Let's talk about that era prior to now. Traditionally, I'm not saying all, but traditionally, the majority, this was a blue collar sport, a grassroots sport that was played in neighborhoods, okay, that came from all social economic status all around the world. That's where the players came from. Okay? This was a sport that you weren't just hanging out shooting baskets and three-point shots in your neighborhood. You knew you had to at some point come down there and face the toughness that was demanded from this game. That's a fact. Okay? Somewhere along this path, Mo, our whole economic system, our whole system became based on the economics, and we got away from the one important ingredient that Scott and I valued more than anything was the teaching and learning of the game. Now the game is all based on the economics. It's not based on the teaching. So when you look at the environment in which these young players are operating in, what's the emphasis? The emphasis is on the economics of the game. Why? Because that's what the leaders are emphasizing. Scott and I grew up in an era in the previous generation where the coaches were actual teachers of the game. I'm going to say that again. The coaches were actually teachers of the game. They weren't trainers, okay? Phil Jackson wasn't a trainer. Phil Jackson wasn't rebounding for me. Phil Jackson wasn't teaching me double step backs, Tex Winners, all these people who are Hall of Fame coaches, Chuck Daly, all these people. They weren't teaching people individual moves. They wanted to know, hey, man, you going to get this loose ball when we need it? You going to take that charge when Jeff Ruling them and Charles Barkley and them running full speed? That's what they were demanding from me. Okay? We have to create an environment in which people are comfortable being uncomfortable. And that is the issue now. Because now, what everybody doing? Well, Scott, your shoulder hurts today. Let's sit out for precautionary reasons. And it's acceptable. And I'm not mad at the players. You know why I'm not mad at the players? Because this is the leadership. This is what it is. I'm not blaming the players. No, I'm going right to the head of this. Who are these people that are advocating this type of behavior and saying this is acceptable behavior when the game was built on toughness? That's what the game was built on. If it was one thing about the NBA, there was a level of toughness you got to have to play in the NBA. Yeah, the guy's talented, but is he tough enough to play in that game? That was a real question. Yeah, okay, yeah, this guy's talented. Yeah, man, this dude is incredible. This guy's averaging. There used to be, Mo, there used to be guys who averaged 20 points a game, and the first question would be, yeah, but is he tough enough? Where is he from? Is he tough enough to play in that game? Now, Mo, you average 20 points a game. He's going to be a superstar. And then there's people like Scott and I going, wait, man, is our television broke? Man, I got to go to, I had to go get my glasses fixed. Because I'm not seeing what they seeing.
Talking about the economics and everything of this situation, a lot of the players coming into the league now, and progressively more as we move forward, they're kids that are not coming from blue collar neighborhoods. They're kids who are sons of former
I'm just
NBA
saying
players
traditionally.
who have grown up millionaires.
This is a global.
So how do you manufacture toughness?
I'm saying this traditionally. This is where it came from. This is a global game now. This is a global game. So what happens is the growth of the game now is in front of, because of the marketing of the game, the popularity of the game that's here. While the game was growing, somehow the standard got lowered. This ain't got nothing to do where you come from. The standard got lowered. What's the standard? 82 games. That's the standard. I don't care where you come from. I don't care how you do it. You got to play 82 games if you want to play here.
Right.
All that. No, we're not getting it. The standard is the standard. And I'm not lowering my standard. If you want to be a superstar, okay, let's talk about it. You got to play 82 games. You got to win. And we know what it takes to reach that standard. We got it. We've got countless examples. Countless examples. But we've chosen now to say, well, you got to come. No. I don't care where you come from. I don't care where the truth come from, as long as it's true. You can be from anywhere in the world. That's a fact. But wherever you from, you got to play 82.
You know, Mo, I think at the core of all this, and we've talked about this before, and you know, what started the conversation is the drop in ratings around the All-Star game, and quite frankly, just the drop in ratings even during the regular season. The fan, the person, and I've been talking to a lot more of them now since I've been out of the NBA. And this is, you know, and this, what I'm getting ready to say to you is direct language that I'm getting from them. Don't watch the NBA as much anymore. Not as competitive. There's no struggle that I'm used to. I want to see guys fighting it all out and then have a winner at the end. There's a sense of entitlement when I watch the game now amongst what they're seeing amongst players. And so again, and players and people, they're no different than the average person. They're going to take advantage of what's in front of them. So if they're not going to be held to account to play 82 games, like BJ talked about, or to say, you know what, yeah, I'm a little sore today, but I'm gonna push through. If you have an environment where pushing through is rewarded and respected, you get more players getting back to that. If you have an environment that's saying, oh no, you know, sit on the side, guess what? A lot of guys are going to do that unless they're just uniquely wired to, you know.
Well, I saw the Jason Tatum interview yesterday where he's talking about, you know, he comes into the thing and Brad Stevens tells him he needs to take a game off this month. And he says, no, I ain't taking a game off. He's
good for Jason Tatum. Great for Jason Tatum. I like, you know.
And that's why he's the champion right now.
That's growth. Yeah, that's great growth on his part. Because guess what? When he says that and does that, Peyton Pritchard, Luke Cornett, you know, everybody on that team got to say, okay, our star guy's doing that. I got to do the same thing. And now that's how you talk about a team, and that's why that team is so good, because from top to bottom, everybody's all in, and it's about winning, and it's about finding a way to compete each and every night. And so that if the NBA wants to restore that weekend, and it's more than just the All-Star game. I know this started the conversation, but it's much more than that. But if you really want to get back to the compelling viewership, the optics on in covering a game, you got to get back to the main thing, and that is competition. And I just don't believe competition is about setting arbitrary numbers of how many 3-point shots we're going to shoot every night. And we're not going to be able to touch anybody. We're not going to be able to play physical. When I think the public, as they watch this happen over the last few years, I believe BJ made the point earlier, has opted to let me tune into something else right now. But it's definitely something that the players in the league, under the right leadership and the right reflection, self-reflection, can restore itself. See, this is a time for the NBA, everybody, not to point fingers. Players can't be pointing fingers, front office, coaches, ownership. Everybody needs to get off of their one-way streets, and everybody needs to put mirrors back in their houses and reflect, what can I do better? What have I done to contribute to the malaise right now that exists in the NBA? And what can I do now to grow and get back to the competitive giant that the NBA I grew up watching was always that, and the league that BJ played in.
Both of you guys know me. I'm not big into whatever. I don't even talk about the NBA, what I did, whatever. I don't talk about that. But you know what's a fascinating thing to me is no matter where I go in the world, someone is going to come up to me and say exactly what Scott just said. Man, I used to love watching y'all play, man. You guys were da-da-da. I love that era. I don't watch the game anymore, man, but hey, I enjoy it. Now, I'm not going around asking people to say that to me. I'm not asking people. The fans have spoken. People enjoy competition. It's a reflection of life. Life is about falling down and getting back up. People love that era. Why? Because it was about competition. That's the key. We have gotten away from that. We all have. I told you, Mo, when we first started doing this show, the game is the star. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the game. It's making sure that we leave this game in a better place than we found it. We're not saying this to be the guys to be right. We're not saying it to be the old guys on the line talking about back. No, we're just saying the standard is the standard. Take the standard and move forward. You can't fake the work. Can't fake it. It was meant to be hard. When I hear executives talking about, well, maybe we should consider playing 40 minutes instead of 48 minutes. We should start playing less games. No, this was meant to be hard. Okay? Now, I don't even like talking about 23 because if I told you how good he really was, you're going to think that I was not telling you the truth. If I told you how good this guy 32 was, Magic Johnson, you go. Scott Perry and I saw him when we were in high school. Mm-hmm. If I told you how good this guy Larry Bird really was, okay, you're gonna think, man, no. Now there was a common denominator with all of them. And then I got over here Bill Russell, and then I got over here Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson. If I told you there was a common denominator, there was a level of toughness that's what was required to be at that level. That's the standard. We can't fake that one. You can't take that away. This isn't something good player, nice talent, and there's a lane for you. But if you're talking about a superstar, it requires you to have one word by your name, the struggle. And you got to play these 82, and you got to perform, and you got to win if you want to be a superstar. You can be a nice individual talent, but when you are a superstar, no, you being a nice individual talent is not part of that's not part of the that's not the level you want to be at. If you want to be at the level of superstar, you got to win. It's only one way to do it. You got to play 82. You got to carry that responsibility.
At least
If you don't
play 70. You know
No,
what
no,
I'm
no,
saying?
no. Mo, if you play 70 in that era, they be like, oh.
No, I'm
See,
saying we got to go
it-
step by step for these guys because right now
No,
they're
no,
trying to
no,
play
no.
50.
Mo, no. The standard has already been set. The standard is the standard. Mo, if you miss the game, Mo, you realize, man, Mo, every player played with broken fingers.
Yeah.
Every player had something going on. But it was one thing, Mo, I didn't want to play. And one thing I didn't want people to say about me is I was trying to dodge that run because I was afraid of somebody. Now, Scott laughing because Scott knows
Real.
all this,
It's real.
all
It's real.
this, all of this, all of this. Okay, I would rather live with somebody scoring 40 points on me than me to say, hey, man, I was dodging that run. Now, guy dodged the run for precautionary reason and don't nobody say anything. Now, I don't know how that mentality slipped into our business, but that's the truth now. And everybody who's played this game understands exactly what I'm saying. And everybody who's watched this game, you didn't dodge none of the action. That's the NBA. This NBA is supposed to be hard. You supposed to question whether or not is it worth it. You supposed to go through all of the pain and struggle and fear and all of the stuff. That's what made it unique. Now, it is what it is. I'm not on the players, but I just hope that some executive, some owner will get back to people like Scott Perry, people in the NBA who values 82 games, value it, and that we reward the behavior. That's called leadership. We reward the behavior that affects our, not yours, not mine, our business. Performance is what affects our business from top to bottom. And that is the behavior that we should be rewarding. The players that understand our business and what affects our bottom line. Affects our bottom line in ticket sales, viewership, performance on the court. And then that's what made this league great, is because the players were required to understand the business in which they were entering into. The executives understood the business in which they were responsible for on a day-to-day basis. The ownership understood the business in which their stewardship. And the league understood that we all are in this together. And we've gotten away from that now. That's just what it is now. And hopefully, and I say it hopefully, that we will get back to that. Because these players are incredibly talented. You've never heard me say they weren't. This is a great game. But I love the game too much to just sit here and keep allowing us to go into this dark place where I've been saying this for years. This isn't like the new today, and I don't want to pile on, but we got to tell it like it is. We love the game. We've seen what's needed. We know what's needed. The 82 is where we start. Scott, we played 10 preseason. We used to play what 8 to 10 preseason games.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
No one skipped a preseason game, Mo. We went two-a-days for an entire month. Two-a-days for an entire. Now, Scott, what is the rule? They go two-a-days for what, 2 days?
Yeah, you get 2 or 3 days of 2 days. That's it.
We went two-a-days for an entire month. And no one missed a preseason game. I'm not making this up. And I'm not making it like we were some type of super. That was the standard. I saw a guy practice every day and play 37, 38 minutes a night. And he practiced every single day. So I know it's possible. Now I'm going to tell a guy to sit down. Wait a minute. Where is he from? Who's the executive telling the players to sit down? Where's he from?
MIT.
Maybe. Where's he from? Where are these people from? Like, okay, maybe there's a certain level that you got to have. That's just what it is. I wouldn't ask you to do something that wasn't done or I haven't done myself. I've seen people do this. That was our job, is to make sure that we got everybody through this process. And now we've gotten away from it. We've kind of strayed away, and now our bottom line is affected by us doing this. You know, we just got distracted for a little bit. Now let's get back on the train tracks. Let's make sure we get the people here. And then how about this? We're gonna train with this idea. How we can play 82 games. Because we know you're training. You're doing something. I see the tweets. I see the Instagram posts. Everybody doing something. How about this? Believe it or not, there's some of us who know how to get through an 82 game schedule. And let me tell you, based on what I can see on social media, and I'm not there like you are, Mo, there's some things I'd like to change about the training to help you get through the 82. Because there's some of the things I'm seeing, I'm going, I don't know how that's helping.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I ain't speaking too much.
Mo, based on what I'm seeing, there's some of the things, you know, hey, Mo, that's why I you prepare for the 82 how you prepare. And whatever you do to get through the 82, that's what you do. But if you can't get through the 82, you might want to change something. And Mo, you know, I asked a couple guys who had went through it before I did, and they gave me a few pointers that, you know, maybe it's not on this show, but trust me, there's a lot of guys, they got formulas to get through the 82. They got formulas to get through the 82. And if you want to know, come talk to us. We'll help you get through the 82. It ain't that it's not as hard as you think, but it requires you to have discipline.
Well, we didn't even make it to the Lakers game last night.
Well, we should make it to the Lakers game. We should make it. That was a makeup game. This is a real show. So you know what? Good for you guys. Now, I want to thank both of you. In particular, Scott Perry, for verifying these stories, because we got some real stories, and if we told a real story, that should be the documentary, if telling the real stories, because Scott saw all of these players. He saw all of these players, and we got all the scouting reports from all of these players. And that's the hard part about watching the game, because you know people aren't really watching the game. And then when the game gets like this, oh, what's wrong with them? No, let's not blame the players. No. We all knew. Scott Perry knew. I knew. Everybody knows. Now, I think that's enough for today. The audience.
Hey, Mo dropped the mic to start the week off. And you closing the week dropping the mic.
Man, we got to drop it.
No, we got another one tomorrow. We got another show
I
tomorrow.
don't no, I get it with the latter part. You
Yeah,
usher it in
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Some of us, I would say this, no. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part for Scott and I to sit here. We know. We know. And they know we know. Now, it's not what we're saying here today that matters, it's what we're not saying. Because we know. And we know because we observed it. It's on your resume. And we understand what this really is. And all that other stuff they saying, okay, that's what it is. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Scott.
You were educating today.
No, this is just
You were educating today. No, you were
We
educating today. I don't know if
saw-
that was your intention, but I'm just saying.
No.
You were educating
We
today.
saw-
His intention was to chill out today, and look what happened.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm trying to tell you, we saw in the modern era, in this era, right? Then talking about this era after 2000, Scott Perry saw Kobe Bryant, and I saw LeBron James. And we both called each other, not years later, we called each other probably during the game. This wasn't hard to see, Mo.
Got a big ass cell phone holding up the brick in the.
I remember when that man called me and told me what he saw. So I know what it is. And then when he got to the NBA, Kobe Bryant was 13th. And I was playing for the Golden State Warriors. And I'll tell you what I told the executives maybe sometime a year later, because I don't want to tell you what I told the executives, what was told to me from the eyes and ears who wasn't even working in the NBA. And how did I tell her that? Because the late Kobe Bryant and I had the same agent. And I was in the draft room doing the draft with him. I'll tell you that story someday.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Subscribe to the show,
Okay.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple.